You look around and it seems like everyone has the perfect job, the great relationship, and the money in the bank. And you think, what am I missing? For many of us, especially as INFJs, we don't feel behind because we lack effort. We feel behind because we're living in a daymare, a constant loop of self-criticism and impossible standards in our own heads. When you live for too long in your ideal world, the real world can feel like a deep disappointment. But that overdeveloped internal life is actually your superpower. In this video, we'll explore why INFJs feel behind and why that's not a failure. The feeling of being behind comes down to three key ways your INFJ brain processes the world, putting you at odds with what society values. The first is deep reflection over fast action. While the world celebrates speed, quick decisions, and fast results, the INFJ is wired to pause, reflect, and feel. We don't just ask what to do, we ask why it matters. You see this at work. Everyone else is working 100 miles per hour, driven by an external goal, and you're stuck wondering, what is the purpose of this task? Does anyone truly care? Or are we just doing this for a paycheck? That deep reflection, that need for meaning, acts like a speed bump on a road to conventional success. We won't move forward until the why aligns with our values. It's not procrastination, it's an integrity check. The second is purpose over performance. Society rewards visible achievements, titles, trophies, likes, and loud declarations of success, but INFJs are chasing alignment, not applause. To us, working just to stay busy or to impress others feels hollow. We crave depth in everything we do. Imagine a corporate executive with the corner office versus an art therapist helping trauma survivors heal through creativity. To the world, the executive wins. But to the INFJ, the therapist's life, quietly building something deeply meaningful, feels more successful. Choosing purpose over performance isn't a failure, it's integrity. It's the courage to say, I'd rather be true to myself than win a race I never wanted to run. The third is authenticity over appearances. We live in a world of filters and polished, curated lives, a kind of false reality, and INFJs struggle to play that game. We value truth even when it's messy. The digital world constantly shows you the things you don't have, but while we have the talent to be chameleons, we don't use it to mimic superficiality. That's why social media can feel so draining. We don't want to perform or floss for strangers who don't truly care. We feel out of place in environments that reward surface level charm because for us, depth is the key to living. So where does this feeling of being behind actually show up? It's in those big, heavy milestones society expects you to hit by a certain age. The ultimate reason INFJs feel this way is that our internal clock operates on purpose, while the world's clock operates on performance. We simply refuse to play a game where the rules feel hollow. Let's break down the three biggest myths that trip us up. Number one, jobs, the meaning crisis. I've heard countless stories of INFJs leaving impressive corporate jobs because they feel soulless. We don't just want a job, we want a mission. A cubicle, no matter how fancy, can feel like a jail cell if the work lacks meaning. While others chase a title or salary for status, we're driven by alignment. That's why an INFJ might walk away from a six-figure salary to become a counselor, a writer, or a nonprofit worker. The world sees failure or burnout. We see integrity. We'd rather have less money and more purpose than a full bank account and an empty soul. The second is Relationships, depth over speed. In a world of dating apps and fast friendships, INFJs often feel like we're moving in slow motion. This isn't because we're picky, it's because we are intentionally deep. We don't want someone to just pass the time with. We want someone who sees our soul, who listens between the lines and values silence as much as conversation. That level of connection takes time. We may go years without a partner or a close friend, and society labels this as being behind socially, but the truth is, we are protecting something sacred, our emotional energy. We refuse to settle for surface level interaction. Being behind socially is actually an act of self-respect and quiet bravery. And third is home ownership and the script. Finally, there's the script. If you live in America, then this is called the American dream, the global expectation. Graduate, get a job, get married, buy a house, have kids, retire. Society sells us this one-size-fits-all path to happiness. But INFJs pause and ask, what if I want something else? We often resist a physical milestone like home ownership if it feels like a trap, financially or spiritually. We don't just ask how to buy a house. We ask, does this space reflect who I am? Or is it just a box society told me to check? We fear being tied down to a place that doesn't allow us to evolve. To us, the dream can feel like a script written by someone else. And as the comedian George Carlin once said, it's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. INFJs are wide awake, and that's both our burden and our unique gift. Now, they said technology will help us live easier lives. Huh. The second you open the social media app, you're bombarded with highlight reels, perfect homes, perfect couples, perfect careers. But what you're seeing isn't reality, it's performance. Behind every polished post is a messy human story we don't see. The depth, the loneliness, the arguments before the photo. But our deep idealism fills those blanks with perfection. And that's where the spiral begins. We start comparing our messy, behind the scenes reality to someone else's filtered highlight reel. It makes us question our path, our pace, or even our inherent worth. Most people compare themselves and move on. Unfortunately, INFJs don't. We absorb those illusions through what I call the empathy trap. When we see someone thriving, we don't just think, I wish I had that. We use our intuition and empathy to emotionally immerse ourselves. We vividly imagine what it must feel like to live that perfect life. And then we turn inwards and ask, why doesn't my life feel like that? What am I missing? This depth, our beautiful gift, suddenly becomes heavy. It's not just comparison, it's an existential crisis. When you're constantly comparing your quiet, intentional life to the world's screaming success, it leads to emotional and spiritual exhaustion. The ultimate danger is that the pressure to catch up can push us to chase goals that were never truly ours. A job for the optics, a relationship for the illusion of normalcy. The tragedy isn't falling behind, it's forgetting why we chose a different, meaningful path in the first place. The world says you're late, behind, or off track. But what if you're not? What if you're just on a different path, one that takes longer because it's deeper? INFJs aren't here to race. We're here to root. We build lives that feel right, not just look right. And that kind of life demands time, reflection, and questioning. You are not failing. You are forging a life that aligns with your soul. And that is the bravest thing you can do. To help honor this different timeline, try one small alignment check-in today. Ask yourself, does this task reflect who I am? Or who am I trying to impress? Next, Focus on micro actions with meaning. Not chores, but soul care. Write one paragraph of your story or simply reach out to one person who feels safe. Remember this metaphor. Some flowers bloom quickly and are fleeting, but INFJs are like deep-rooted trees. We grow inward because we grow outward, beneath the surface where no one can see. When we finally rise, we're not easily shaken because our roots run deep. You are not behind, you are layered. Every quiet season, every intentional detour, every doubt, it is not a delay, it is a part of your becoming. You don't need to catch up. You need to come home to yourself. That's where your real life begins. Honor your timeline. Trust your compass. And this week, take one step, just one, that feels right in your bones.